Oh,
All right, everybody. It has been a while. I think my last episode had to have been May or April with Omnia. I had two others recorded. I don't know if they're going to see the light of day. I've been kind of slacking, but I'm back. And I am back with a very, very special guest, someone who I've followed for the past couple years, a content creator who is my favorite creator out there, the one and only Paulie Esther. Paulie, thank you so much for doing this, my friend.
hey, thanks for asking me. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to this.
When I started my whole thing on Twitter, right after the Chandler video happened, I remember you were one of the first people to reach out to me. And that was so bizarre too, because like I see like a notification, it's like Paulie Esther message you. I'm like, what the hell? So, but when you message, you congratulated me, and like it was like seeing a leader in the community uplifting. And I think that's something that's so special about the Dead by Daylight community, and it's something I saw in June because I was very fortunate enough to meet so many cool people. People who recognized me, which is weird, but people who were recognizing other content creators. And for you specifically, I remember seeing a father come up to you and tell you how much it meant to him that his son, who watches you and admires you, and how good you were and how patient you were with everyone, that's what it's all about. And seeing that was it's just such a special. And my girlfriend was like teary eyed because she was right next to me when that happened. And just, I think just seeing the whole community get together like that, that was so beautiful, man. It really was. So I want to thank you for all you've done all the years and for what you've given to the community and all the entertainment and always being a light in the fog.
It was a pleasure, honestly. I mean, to me, that's what life's all about. We're not helping each other. What the heck are we here for, right? So it's a hard road to get through when you're alone and lonely. And if you have people in your life, it makes it easier to get through. And, we should all strive to help one another. And, I don't know what your recollection of it is. I think that I approached the father. I'm not entirely sure, but I remember I had met this young man. Like everybody at the event had to be an adult. So, you know, there were adult children there who were with their parents. And I just wanted to tell his father that I felt like he's one of the unsung heroes of the event to support their children's interests like that and come out and accompany them, and maybe something they don't understand. They don't play the game themselves necessarily, but they are there for their kids, and that's the way that my father was always there for me. That whether I wanted to go get Dungeons and Dragons miniatures or video games or things like that, he was always right there for the journey. He supported my interests, and so seeing other parents do that, it it's special to me because it reminds me of my own father. And I've seen that. I've had the pleasure. I had a pleasure of seeing that a few times in Montreal here, but I've seen it in the past at PAX 6 years ago as well, with parents who supported their kids. There was one family in particular, and now you probably through the years know this person, James the Fat Rooster, who has done some amazing cosplays over the years. He's done the Deathslinger, he's done the Unknown, he's done most recently Springtrap at this Montreal event, and the Blight as well. Made the cane with the jewel and everything. And I first met him when he was Ghostface 6 years ago at PAX, and his dad came up to me and he was just a kid at the time. He wasn't even an adult, and wanted to thank me and all this stuff like that. And I thanked him for the same reasons as I've alluded to here. And then I remember that the year I went to PAX, Dead by Daylight didn't have a booth there, so I had planned all this trip and the expense, the hotel, and then Dead by Daylight didn't even end up having a presence at PAX that year, which was a super bummer because that's really the only reason I would have gone to PAX.
Mm.
But they did have an off-site event. They had a little meet and greet, like in the common areas at PAX, where a few devs came in attendance, and then they had an off-site party. And so this kid, James the Fat Rooster, he got into the party. He had tickets as a fan to meet the creators and stuff, and I had already met him at the event. So then I was like, "Hey, James, how you doing here?" And then he was like so nervous because again, he was just a kid at the time. He's you know, a grown man, fine young man now, but he was so nervous, like looking around at all these creators that he knows. And I was like, "What's up, James?" And he goes, "I don't know. There's a lot of people here that I know, and I'm nervous." And I said, "Well, don't be nervous. Who do you want to meet?" And he said, "I want to meet Puppers." I said, "Okay, man, we're gonna go meet Puppers right now." And I took him over and I said, "Puppers, this is James, and he's dying to meet you." And I left them to their own devices at that point, but I was like the facilitator for him in that moment. And this kid that you're mentioning that I talked to his dad here in Montreal, I believe his name was Arthur, and Arthur was saying that he was nervous to meet people, and I just kind of reaffirmed the same thing. I said, "Arthur, I want you to promise me that if there's anybody here that you want to meet, that you're going to go up and talk to them today." And it was kind of in that same vein as
Mm.
the connection of putting James and Puppers together, because there was so many people there that I wouldn't be able to necessarily facilitate for Arthur, but I just wanted to instill that in him, that you promise me you're going to do it. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah. So that was the basic crux of that conversation between Arthur, and I believe his father's name was Vincent, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but yeah. So, and I met a couple other parents as well, and I actually talked to James the Fat Rooster's mom when he was in my gaming session. He signed up to game against me at the event, and I got a chance to speak to his mom. I'd previously spoken to his father 6 years ago, and I gave her the same kind of rah speech about thank you for being here for your kid, and it means a lot. So, which I think it does. Like, they don't get enough recognition as supporting their kids' interests in this
Yeah.
game.
And for them to
So,
travel all the way to
yeah,
Montreal for a game that, I mean, assuming that the parents don't play, but they watch their kids' passions through it and see that. Parents do anything. I mean, my dad back in 2015, 2016 took me to Boston to a Comic Con that was called Walker Stalker Con, and it was all Walking Dead themed. And Stephen Yun was there, Michael Cudlitz, Abraham, Lenny James, everyone. And he did that for me. So our parents are our heroes, and it's just such an important part that we let them know how appreciated they
yeah,
are. So, yeah.
our journey, and then you know passes on to our kids, right? We want to
Yep.
be the same kind of parents for our kids and stuff like that. So
Now, I assume your journey with video games, did that start with your father?
I don't. I mean, I was an Atari kid, so my parents never had video games. That's going way back to the '70s. Like, we had arcade games, but the home system was something that was completely foreign, and I expressed interest in it. I wound up getting it probably for Christmas, and I would play these low graphics video games. Like, my favorite one was Yar's Revenge. So you being a Walking Dead fan, Yar's Revenge is uh is in that TV show, right? So what's the Eugene plays Yar's Revenge.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, yeah, that's
That
Yar's Revenge.
was
That's
that
what I
that
used to play.
that was when he was at the sanctuary with Negan's wives, right?
Yeah,
No
that was my
way.
favorite.
Okay.
That was my favorite video game growing up.
That's awesome. See, I never got to play any Ataris, but Eric Pope was telling me that I believe it was the Atari. His was the Smurfs. It was like a
Oh,
Smurfs game on the Atari.
I don't remember that
So,
one.
yeah.
I remember my cousin had that awful ET video game, and when I would visit him, I was like, "Let's play this," and he's like, "That's so bad, man." I'm like, "What do you mean? How bad could it be?" And we just played this game where ET just constantly fell in holes, and I'm like, "This is dumb." He's like, "I told you." So yeah, it was so bad.
There is an
No wonder they
Instagram.
landfilled all those.
There is an Instagram channel. I haven't seen their videos in a while, but they used to make like shorts about like the worst video games ever made, and it was like way, way back and stuff. And they had a ton of those type of things on there. There was a Superman one, I believe, too, that was like
Yeah, that was a bad
argued as
one.
one of the worst games ever made because you just could not even get past the first level.
Yeah, we used to play adventure and unlock the secret, and I guess that's probably like my first secret Easter egg where you could find the pixel that would make it so you didn't have collision and you could move to secret parts of the dungeon in the adventure video game. And we thought that was cool. Yeah, maybe that's where my passion for video game secrets came from. I don't know. There was some good games for Atari, for the day. Pac-Man wasn't bad. Not a bad adaptation.
Where where did your love for horror begin? Was there a video game that set that off, or were you like like a horror movie enthusiast?
This little moth wants to be on camera. You want to be on camera? Got a teeny little moth flying around here.
The special
Um,
guest.
I wasn't really, I was just a very casual horror enjoyer. Like I would watch, Nightmare on Elm Street and the odd Friday the 13th or Halloween, but I wasn't like to the hilt kind of a thing. It was actually like Dead by Daylight brought me closer to
Hmm.
horror, interestingly enough. But I did like Walking Dead, Um, yeah, so I was very casual in the space, and then Dead by Daylight kind of heightened that interest, makes me want to go back and see everything that the chapters are based on. I didn't watch the. I had seen like Saw 1, but I didn't see anything else until
Hmm.
the Saw chapter came to DVD, and then I wanted to watch it all. That kind of a thing. Give me a more of an appreciation for the genre, even though I don't really necessarily view Dead by Daylight as a horror game. I feel like, sure you get jump scares, but I don't think it's a scary game. So if that makes sense, I think it's
Yeah,
more like competitive. So
competitive.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, it was scary to me, but I'm terrible with just like horror games in general. But it grew on me. But there still can be moments if you're going against like a ghost face. I get some good jump scares from
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah, you could definitely get jump scared in it still, but I don't, it doesn't like give you that constant heightened tension. There are jump scare moments, but not like a video game where you have constant tension and anything could happen at any given moment all the time. So well,
Yeah.
it's just different.
Did you at during the event in Montreal, did you experience the Jason cabin?
I did not because it was raining, as you know, and then the timing of it just didn't work out for me with the line and stuff. With not to say that I had plenty of time that was my own.
Yeah.
I did have a few obligations, and they were very good about utilizing everybody for their strengths, giving all of the invitees something to do throughout the day. Like, for example, Deer and Die Hard Diva were the judges of the cosplay contest, and then Ghost Arcade was the host MC of the cosplay contest. And they had the one word questions in the art area, and then like Hens and Otts doing the play by play of the gaming sessions breakdown, like telling the audience what's happening with the games that were played, because they just have like superb knowledge of everything in the game that they can understand it as commentators and explain to people who may not necessarily know what a perk is doing or something. Like they're perfect for that role. So they were really great about utilizing everybody and giving them things to do throughout the day. And I did have a few obligations, but again, I had plenty of time that was my own. And just with it being rainy, I just didn't make it out there. Now, one of the things that I chose to do on my own was to dress up like Chef Jeffrey Hawk. And I came to this event like a pack mule with bags of stuff. And I wasn't sure. I'm like, should I bring this? Do I want to do this? Because it was hot. And so I said, okay, I want to do it. So I'm going to get dressed up and I'm going to go out onto the show floor. And I told my wife, but I don't want to be in this too long because it'll be unbearable. So I gave her a stack of stickers that I had of me dressed up like Chef Clown. And I said, we're going to walk the floor, and anybody who asks to get a picture with me, you give them one of the stickers. And then when we're out of stickers, we're out of here. Like, when the stickers are gone, so am I. I'm leaving.
I think
so she said, okay.
One of mine are near. I have like a ton of stickers, but I have yours. This isn't the chef, but I don't know if it's showing up, but here's one.
Yeah, that's the 10th anniversary sticker. Similar idea, but it's just me in the chef costume, which I was bummed I couldn't find the mustache. I normally have this mustache with these just perfect tip point ends, and I put it back on the card so it would stay nice, but I couldn't find the mustache, so I had to go without the mustache. But so anyway, so I did that, walk the floor, and then I forget if I had to get ready for the interview with Matthew Cote afterwards. I think it was that. So we're heading back to, they had this respite area for the invitees that if we felt overwhelmed, we could get off the floor, or they had, beverages and things up there for us and a coat check for our belongings. So I went up there to change. And as I'm going up to get changed, well, there's Jason from the cabin experience ready to go on the elevator with me. So it's me and Jason's handler and my wife and son on the elevator. And then my wife's like, get in there, get a picture with him on the elevator. So then I put my arm around him, and the poor guy is all wet because
from the rain.
He's been out in the rain terrorizing people in the cabin all day. And he's totally in character, and I'm still staying in character. So I was like, you're all wet, buddy. What happened to you? They pull you out of a lake or something? And then he just looks at me, turns his head, and he gives this slow nod. It was a pretty cool moment, but yeah, he was just taking his break. Yeah, but he stayed in character. And then once I got upstairs and I just peeled that mask off, and oh god, it was all soaked underneath. But yeah, that was my experience with Jason, riding on the elevator with him. But I saw afterwards, I watched the live stream because there was things that I missed. I didn't get to see the cosplay contest, and King and Linksy and Spooky Loops, and I can't remember who else was in their group. It might have been Diva, that they were featured on the stream going through the cabin escape room. So I got to see kind of like what it was like, and you see Jason peeking through the vent. Did you get to go to the experience for the cabin?
So we were in line. It was raining, and it said like
Yeah.
20-minute wait. But I actually had your thing, our gaming session, and my girlfriend just looks at me. She's like, "I'm so sick of this damn cabin. Let's just go." Because prior, as you remember, during that night, she and I were playing Mario Kart or Mario Party,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh, I want to watch this stream at 9. I think they're going to reveal either Jason or Pennywise." And then you rest was history.
Yeah, the cabin watch. We'll finish the game when this is over. And
Yeah,
then meanwhile, 13 hours later.
I'm watching with
Yeah.
you in your stream. So
Yeah,
she
that
was
was
just fed
quite the
up.
night. Quite the
Yeah,
night. Yeah, people
yeah.
were upset about it, but
Tune
man,
in. You don't want to miss it.
that was some marketing there for sure. But yeah, I
I
just looked down. You could see the cabin from like the respite tower, and I looked at that line snaking through there. I'm like, holy cow! There's a big long line, even in the rain. My wife said, "Oh, there's not going to be anybody out there because it's raining." I said, "Our fans will be out there. The rain is not going to stop them. They're going to be out there. They're not going to miss it." So I was a little bummed that I didn't get to see that,
yeah.
but really, the only thing I didn't get to do that I wanted to do, I would like to have seen the art exhibit a little more.
That was very cool. That was
Yeah, I
very
just did a
cool.
quick once around to see what was there,
Mm.
and then I had to go, and then I tried to go see it at the end of the night after the live stream, but I went back after the live stream. They were already taking everything down off the walls. I was like, "Holy smokes, we're going fast here!"
Yeah.
So
Did
yeah,
you did you do any of the pictures in like the main entrance where you had like the entity there? You had the Do you do any of that?
yeah. So we kind of went through everything backwards because there was a separate entrance to get in, and then we went up to the tower and ditched our stuff, and then we walked backwards through the event. So everything that everybody saw coming in, where you're greeted by, I think the crossu was the first thing when you came in, something like
Yeah, I
that.
believe so.
We
Yeah.
saw it all in reverse, and I didn't even see Maurice.
I
My
didn't see
wife got a
Maurice
picture of
either.
him
Yeah.
afterwards because it was the ambiance there was so dark and foggy and everything,
It was
and
very
he's so low
crowded.
to the ground and a lot of
Yeah.
people. So I didn't even see Maurice until the end because when we closed that place and then we walked out through it backwards again after we got our gear, and then I was able to take a bunch of shots with like nobody there. The whole floor was empty because they closed it at like 11, and literally security was behind us going, "We're making our way to the entrance, right? We're making our way to the exit, right?" Because we're like taking a picture, like, "Let's move it along. We're closed." And so I
Yeah.
was like, "Just one more picture."
Well,
So I got to see like the entity claw empty, the claw machines to get the little Maurice plushie empty, Crossue, and I got a lot of shots with nobody around on the way out. But yeah, I did get to do that stuff. We went in reverse, and then I was like, "Well, where's the entrance? What's the first thing?" And then a couple of lovely young men, they because I was like, "This merch line is crazy," and they heard me talking about it with my wife. They said, "Oh well, if you're just getting your shirt, you can just go to the side of the line and get your shirt like that. You don't have to wait in the line for the regular merch." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that helped a bunch to get our shirts and stuff. And then I wanted to go back to the merch booth sometime when the line wasn't so long, but it was like a going out of business sale. Like the shelves were empty by the time I went back. There was nothing left. They cleaned them out of everything. I was like, "There's nothing left to buy. They bought it all."
yeah. I
I wanted
mean,
to get the mural prints. Did you go see the murals in Montreal?
I did. I did see them. I saw, well, yeah, both of them, the Huntress one and then the other mural. That's where I got recognized by people, by the way, and I was like, huh?
Oh yeah,
That was weird.
yeah. I
uh,
mean, we met DBD people at those murals too.
Yeah,
I mean, that
it's
makes
cool.
sense. That's what they're going there
It's
for.
yeah, it's what
I didn't even
everyone's.
know the murals were a thing, man. Like King says to me, I think I might have told you this story already when we were talking to Sunshine or something. Maybe not. But King says, we're going to go see some murals. And I was like, okay, I'll take in some culture in Montreal. I'm game. I'll do whatever. So I went with them. And then we get to the mural. I'm like, oh, they're Dead by Daylight murals? Like, I didn't even know. I'm like, I didn't know they were Dead by Daylight murals. I thought we are just going to appreciate art in the city. He's like, no, they tweeted about it today. And I had been driving all day. So I hadn't seen it. I was like driving 7.5 hours to get
Oh, you
to
drove too.
Montreal. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
didn't know what the tweets were. And I was like, oh, that's cool. The Montreal murals are Dead by Daylight. And then I was like, oh, I remember seeing pictures of these, that this was going to be merch that they were going to sell at the booth, prints of the murals. And I was like, why is the Trapper and Huntress got flowers all over their face on these prints? And then once I saw the mural, then I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. But
yeah,
yeah, so they went all out though. I don't know what
they
all you
did.
saw, but they had
They.
billboards for the
Hmm.
event, bus station posters,
Yeah,
metro posters. It was like, whoa.
yeah, we
We're
saw that
talking about
driving
Dead by
in.
Daylight around town. What?
Yeah, they did. I mean, they did such a fantastic job with like promoting it there, but like it's incredible how many people came to the event too. People drove, like you and I, people flew from different
Oh,
countries. It's just like it's incredible to see that. I think because, I think at a point, because I don't spend as much time on Twitter anymore, but like I think at this point, like everyone kind of knows everyone. Like I met BioShock for DBD there.
oh
Super,
yeah,
super kind person. I
nice.
They are very, very talented with all their concepts. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but
Yeah,
it's cool.
I'm
It's
rooting for
just
them. I don't know if
yeah.
it'll ever happen, but I'm rooting for them.
I yeah.
Who
I root
knows?
I root for any for DBD account. I mean, I think the thing,
Except that one. Except that one.
yeah, that one license that one person kept asking you about in stream, and they're like, "Why am I getting deleted?" You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I remember that. Was that the night of the shack actually? That might have been the cabin that person was
I don't
doing
even know. Maybe.
that.
Anyway,
uh,
they
but
shall remain nameless. Um,
there's
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I appreciate the passion. I mean, I never made like a Candyman for DBD account, but I practically have been on the same level, like begging for that for years. So I don't know if that'll ever happen either. So, and I have like a personal connection with Candyman because that was like filmed at my university.
Mm,
So I was like, oh
really?
yeah, and the structure that's in the movie when the movie opens, Candyman, it's not even there anymore. It's torn down. So it's kind of like sentimental for me. But anyway, I don't know if it'll ever happen. But and now that Tony's passed, it's
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say, let me ask you, if it did happen, how would you feel? Because it obviously, unfortunately, will no longer be Tony doing the voice. If they did a sound alike, would you be okay, or would there be some like feeling in your like gut that's kind of like, um, how would you feel if they still managed to do the
well, I mean,
chapter?
I'd be okay with a sound alike because
Yeah,
even if he was alive, that doesn't mean necessarily that they would get him. We have things like Ripley isn't Sigourney's voice, and Michonne, right? She's
yeah.
a sound alike. So I'd be okay with a sound alike. I definitely would rather have a sound alike than an AI from the grave, like whatever they're doing with Willy Wonka right now
Wait,
with Gene Wilder.
oh God, please don't tell me they're actually doing that.
Yeah, they have a Gene Wilder AI voice.
Ugh.
His family has signed off on it. So, it's not my business, not my decision, but it is what it is.
I'm not.
I don't
I'm
even
not a
personally think it
fan.
sounds very good. So
Uh, it's, I mean, that's just cash grab. You're just digging their grave for money.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
it's,
who am I to say? Who am I to
yeah,
judge? Maybe Gene would want
yeah,
to, from the grave, continue to support his family in whatever way he
yeah.
could.
I mean,
But
there are certain
everybody has to
actors,
find their own
yeah,
path and make their
certain
own decisions in
actors
life.
like Michael Caine has, I think, pretty much signed that he can permission to use his voice
Yeah,
after
and we
he
know James
passes.
Earl Jones did as well.
Yeah, so I
But
mean,
this is a decision made after
way many
Gene passed.
years
So
because
yeah,
that was like way before AI was even a concern.
right, right.
So, mm, yeah. So with how are you feeling with the whole year, with everything that we got announced, with everything to look forward to? Obviously, the most exciting thing is the graphics update and the animations, which I personally think looks incredible. It's
Yeah.
long overdue. Um, there's just a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited for because there's so much potential with this. What are your thoughts? And what are
Well,
your hopes?
what I specifically said to Matthew about it is that it's very ambitious. It brings the game into um, the modern game sphere, right? It would be like if Dead by Daylight were made now instead of 10 years ago.
Mm,
It would probably be what we would expect the game to be like. So they want to. Uh, it's almost like they're building Dead by Daylight 2 inside of Dead by Daylight 1 while still respecting everybody's time they put into the game and money. And then they're just going to upgrade it internally while we go. Is going to work? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It looks really good. I hope they can pull it off. Um, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have some concerns about like do older generation consoles get left behind on this? Are
yep,
they going to be able to keep up
especially
with?
Switch.
Yeah, I didn't want to like specifically name them, but that would probably be the console that I would be most concerned for because they're not even on Switch 2, right?
Mm,
They don't even have a Switch 2 update. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what the capabilities are and what the demands are once the new version rolls out. But I don't know. I guess as a business, at some point, you would have to move forward, and you can't hold back the game because of that. I guess I
yeah,
don't know. It's a tough decision, right? I don't know where they're going to fall on this and what the capabilities are going to be, but that's a year down the road, right? It's
yeah,
going to be a process getting there, and like they've if they can turn any of it back if it doesn't work out, right? They can just see what happens and then make decisions as they go on that stuff. So it looks beautiful. I'm very excited to see what it looks like once it's in our hands. But it looks like it really opens up the possibilities. And like I said, it is very ambitious and probably necessary for a game that has been accused of not being ambitious in the past and just like resting on their laurels and say, well, we're the big boy in town. We have it all sewn up for asymmetrical horror. We don't need to do anything. We just crook our little finger and the player base comes running. That's the way a lot of people see Dead by Daylight and think
mm,
that they're not willing to innovate or do anything differently because of their success. And I would say that this has put everybody on notice that that's not the case, that they are willing to innovate, try new things, make the game better. And, obviously, I'm hoping that it all comes to fruition without any bumps in the road. So we'll see.
I hope that if there are bumps in the road leading towards it, the only thing I hope is they take their time. Don't push it out. Don't like if make sure that you're confident with it. Don't rush because let's say like they get it done next year and they publish it. And let's say it breaks everything, Let's say, I mean, that's obviously happened with Walking Dead, and it's like
Wait, what?
it's a common
What are you
thing.
talking about? What do you mean?
But
Oh, hi, Jim Beam. How are you?
but like and I get that's probably might be even more pressure because they probably have things licensed out that are going to be compatible with this next, upgrade. So, like, if, for example, let's say they have Predator down the pipeline, maybe they're holding out because they want him to be more advanced where maybe he can, like, be in trees or something. I don't know if they'd pull that off, but you know what I'm saying.
Right,
Like,
right.
there's like like with some licenses, they might feel the need to rush. So I just hope that going into this, they just take their time. I think that's kind of like the
Yeah, I
most
mean,
important.
I think they've demonstrated their willingness to roll things back. Like we had the um, the anti-tunnel, anti-slug initiatives, which turned out they weren't going to work, and we just got like a tweak on the anti-camp and stuff. And I was actually on the wrong side of that. I was thinking that it needed to go through, and I don't know. I can't really put my finger on what changed, but I've obviously changed my mind about that. That it didn't need to go through with the anti-tunnel, anti-slug stuff. That it was fine. I don't know if it's like the extra time on the hook or nerfing gen reduction perks, but I don't think that those initiatives are necessary the way that I did before. Like I was pretty mad when they scrapped it,
Mm.
and then I don't feel that way anymore. So, but I can't really put my finger on if it's pallet density. I'm not sure what it is, but it seems like the extra anti camp and it's doing fine for survivors. I mean, the killer mains are like out there going, "Yeah, no kidding."
My
Right?
heart goes out to
I
Killer
can't
Mains
even
right now.
imagine right now if the where the game is right now. If we also had anti slug and anti tunnel on top of that, oh boy.
Let me
Yeah, I
tell
think at
you.
the end the tools in the game, unbreakable, decisive, are enough that you don't really need that at this point. So
Let me tell you. I do both Killer and Survivor, but I consider myself a Survivor main. During this event, I play, I'm doing a Jason match, and dude, it was brutal. Everyone's going invisible. And on top of
the
that, like,
invisibility is rough,
yeah.
man.
And on
There's
top
no
of
doubt
that,
about it.
yeah, on top of that, like, I was going against like a full on like Survivor with Friends squad. It was funny because like, they were chill, but they were bullying the hell out of me. They were doing hooks. Whenever I got someone down, they'd be like sabotaging the hook. I was not getting I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just stick to Survivor during this event. I'm not even gonna stream that because I'm just gonna get grilled. But I the thing is, and my biggest criticism with this event is there's a lot of new players in this game here for Jason. And this is their, for many, first experience.
It has to be right. Like
Yeah.
we set player records.
Yeah. And
I
like,
don't know how you do that without having new players, right? Has to
yeah,
be new players.
I think it's just a terrible way to introduce new players. And especially for those who are here for Jason. I mean, your biggest killer launch. It's brutal. And I do feel bad for killer mains right now. I even feel bad playing Survivor because it's not it's not fun for killers.
It's a mixed bag, right? Because there's
Yeah.
no MMR
Mm,
on the event. So you're going to get a wide variety of killer experience when you're playing Survivor, right?
yeah.
And Survivor experience when you're playing killer. So since there's no MMR, you're going to get people who are going to dumpster you or that you're going to dumpster. And I've experienced that. I had, a game where we played against a nemesis who got one hook the whole game because we were table setters. Had a game today against a ghoul. And normally ghoul is
Brutal.
pretty tough fight,
Hmm.
but the event mechanics made it so this ghoul was on his heels the whole game. My one friend, Mittens, all she did was set the table the whole game. She didn't do any generators and just kept setting the table, resetting the table, which isn't a gimme against a ghoul because a ghoul can put you in deep wound.
Yeah.
So the insta heal isn't as effective as against those killers who can put you in deep wound like Legion and things like that, right? So yeah, I've had an array of like everybody's dead at 4 gens with Survivor, and the one hook game against us too. So it's a wide variety. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that the event isn't Survivor sided. I think that it is, but the side quests that keep survivors doing things, I think it has to be at least a little survivor sided. Because if the killer just has the poison, he
Yeah.
can just come after you and steamroll you and ignore any quests. And the survivors doing the quest slows down the objective, right? So I think that all things being equal, with the quests and still needing to do the objective, it makes the objectives take longer to do. So it has to be at least a little bit survivor sided. But it's, maybe a little too much in this direction. I know people are like up in arms over it. Honestly, I just want to play killer. I want to do this, but I play Plague because I thought you can't play just any killer in this event because there's going to be killers who are going to get exposed by these event mechanics and you won't have a chance. So I thought, well, who's somebody that I can use to kind of circumvent these mechanics? So I play Plague because when you're broken and I've got your sickness, well, what's the tables going to do for you now? Nothing. And if I have vomited on you and you go invisible, I can still hear you coughing from the infection. So I've been having a blast playing Plague. Now, that's not to say that I'm steamrolling everybody because I had an experienced team 4 out me. But other than that, every game was like I killed 2 or more people every time. So yeah, you got to be choosy.
I'm gonna have
about
to
who
try
you
Plague.
play.
Yeah. I didn't even really think about Plague actually. That's actually, yeah. Okay, I actually might, yeah.
There are some moves there, like artist. If you got birds on your head, the birds ain't going invisible.
Yeah.
So they can turn invisible if they want to, but if they got birds on their head, you know where they are. They still have collision. I actually downed somebody. Well, I played a game as Jason. Downed somebody invisible, picked them up invisible, and hooked them because they wound up going down right in front of the hook. Hooked them while they were invisible, and then they reappeared. And I was like, well, that's a first, So, yeah, you can't just play any killer in it.
Yeah,
and people are really mad about this event, and I'll just like, this is the first time they tried it. It's a new experience. They're going to learn from it, and hopefully it'll be better next year. And so last year, that was killer sided, right? The last year of the Masquerade, that was killer sided with the remote hooking.
Oh
And I
yeah.
told people,
Oh
I
my God, I
said,
forgot about that.
right, right. That was a miserable experience for survivors. It really was. And I told people my advice on stream was I said, if there are any adepts that you need for killer, go play it right now because these are the easiest games you will ever have as killer. Remote breaking pallets, remote hooking. You just like push a button and you go around the other way. And by the time you get there, that pallet's boom gone and you get them down, with the remote pallet breaking. And they said these are the easiest games you'll ever get. If you're having trouble getting these adepts, go play the killers you need adepts on now in the Masquerade. You can't do that in the event this year. You are not going to get any adepts. I actually saw somebody trying to do it, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Like, I was like, dude, you think you're going to get an adept killer in this? It ain't happening. So now the reverse is true here, right? If there are any adept survivors you need to get, you should be trying to get them in this event because these are going to be some of the easier games you're going to ever have from the survivor side. So you should be trying to get your survivor adepts done this year. I mean, this game is difficult to balance at the best of times. And like I said, I give them some grace about the way the event mechanics work because this is the first time they did it, right? Now, the cake dropping issue, I feel completely different about. I do not appreciate the cake reduction. I've been super vocal about it on my stream and behind the scenes with the devs for a number of reasons. I brought up every point that I can possibly think of about why this is a bad idea. One of them being like, you said we have a lot of new players who came in for Jason, right? And we know that the grind for Dead by Daylight 10 years in is as hard as it has ever been because there are so many perks to get, so many things to grind through, right? And it only gets grindier every time you add another character. There's another layer on top. So why you would ever want to reduce the amount of cakes that someone could get, which would help them advance in the game more quickly, is beyond me. I think it's a terrible decision. And that's not the only point that I made, but I think that is a valid one. And I've been at loggerheads with the devs on this one.
Yeah.
For a week. We should probably move on because I could rant about this for a long time.
To move on, we could take it to a lighter note because, as we said, there were so many good things to unpack from the stream. I think for me, obviously being a big fan of Walking Dead, my girlfriend wanting this to happen, I am officially somewhat out of hot water. Glenn is finally coming.
So that was a hilarious story to me. We're fighting for Rick Grimes. Why aren't we fighting for Glenn?
She got her victory. I'm so glad that they did it. I really did not expect that to happen. Like, I thought they were just going to do Negan and Carol. I really thought Glenn would have been pushed to the back, but I'm happy. But I think the reason I bring this up is because this is the first summer where we're not getting a licensed survivor in July. But when you think of it, I guess you can somewhat swap that out and say we're technically are with Glenn. Because I know that's August, but I don't know how you feel about this. I don't know how many other people feel about this. I am personally very excited for more legendary survivors, not just with Walking Dead, but with other franchises. Because when they announced Hudson from Aliens, that's Bill fucking Paxton. They got his likeness from the family. That is, to me, because I loved Bill Paxton. I thought he was incredible. I thought he was an incredible actor.
Game over, man.
Game over. But it's just I with all these franchises that we have, we got Walking Dead, we got Alien, we got Stranger Things. I still think we're gonna get Max. That's a whole other theory I went into before, but I think Legendary Survivors is sorry. I know I'm kind of like rambling, but what I'm saying is I think Legendary Survivors for Dead by Daylight is good because it's a way to give us new characters without having to create a ton of new perks. Because I feel like there's a lot of perks. Because as I mentioned earlier, my cousins are in the game and they're trying to learn everything. They're like, "What's this?" There's just too much. So I think legendary characters are perfect for them because it's like a way to meet in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that, but you're
Yeah.
right about a lot of perks. Like I play all the time and I don't even know what all these perks do. I have to sometimes chat has to like tell me. I'm like, "What's that? What's this? What's happening to me?" And they have to explain it to me. So for somebody who hasn't been playing for 10 years to have to go, "What's this status effect on me? Why did it happen to me? How do I avoid it? What do I do? Where did it come from?" is just like it's so much. But you're right. On a number of levels, the legendary characters are great because the perk development pool can't be that deep, I don't think. You see a lot of the perks are just like two perks merged together with like a lesser effect, but you get the benefit of both of them. I just feel like, there's only so many perks that they can come up with ideas for. You would think that there has to be a limit to it. So being able to just introduce a character seamlessly like this, you don't have to come up with three new perks and you put them in the game. It's like chef's kiss.
Yeah.
And then I also appreciate that we have good enough relationships with our licensors that we can continue to go back to them and years later even put new characters from their franchises in our game, such as most recently Hinako from Silent Hill F. As you said, Hudson. We're going to get more for Walking Dead. There's some franchises that I don't think that they could go too deep on. There will still be people who will have fans for those characters. Even Beth Green for DBD. Shout out.
Shout out
Anyway,
to Beth Green for
you know what I'm saying though? Like I
yeah.
think like The Walking Dead, you could go very deep in the roster. Um, I would love to see more Stranger Things content as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love to see like Predalien, perhaps for Alien. Yeah, so I appreciate that we can continue to build on those licenses and get more characters. There's definitely like some franchises that they could probably do more for with Saw if they wanted to go deeper into that Saw catalog. You could pull more characters out of that franchise if you wanted to. Um, some Detective Tap legendaries, perhaps. But each
Yeah.
licensor is different and they make those decisions. Honestly, people are just like, well, I hope we're going to get like Freddy versus Jason for 2v8. And yeah, that would be a dream. But I will say, just, I'm from my own personal standpoint, when I try to manage people's expectations, I'll say, yes, that sounds wonderful. I would love for it to happen. However, you have to remember that the Nightmare on Elm Street license is the one that we have the least amount of additional
Hmm.
content for. Frankly, I think it's kind of a miracle that we got a face rework for Quentin. Um, so could it happen? Certainly. But, I wouldn't hold my breath or bet on it just based on the history. And like I said, I'm just happy that we've been able to maintain Freddy in the game because, that hasn't happened with every property. So,
Yeah. My expectation is I kind of think it's just gonna be Jason if they can balance everything out because they've said that with 2v8 two certain killers can't go together because it'd just be too overpower. But my expectation would be Jason and the Unknown because the lore, which I thought was awesome, by the way. I thought implementing that, how they did that was really cool.
Yeah, you could be right. Like even when you look at that graphic
Mm,
of the lore with Jason coming face to face with the unknown, it's like basically an homage
yeah,
to the Freddy versus Jason movie poster, you
yeah.
know? So you might be right about that. We'll see. Um hmm. I was thinking maybe it would be more likely to have a Stranger Things
Hmm.
2v8 with
Yeah,
Vecna and the Demogorgon,
with Max Legendary.
but would they have told us about a Max Legendary?
I feel like they would have at the if the anniversary would have been the place to do it. That's the only
Right.
thing, you know.
So maybe that's a no
Yeah.
on Max for now. I don't know. Or
But then
maybe they want
again,
to keep some
yeah,
surprises.
Dave did say that we want to save some surprises for you. So that's,
Okay. So
you
maybe
know,
that's a bullet they kept in their gun for
yeah.
later. Yeah. I don't
I
know.
I saw someone talking. It might have been Schmuckles. It might have actually been you. Um, going to Dave's quote that we want to save some surprises for you, saying that, like, when you look at the roadmap, I believe April we're getting a Survivor, but it's, it doesn't say licensed. But there is
Right.
someone talking about like the potential of what if that is a surprise licensed Survivor, because there are no licensed Survivors announced, at least. Obviously, I'm sure Terrifier will get it, but if we do, that's only one licensed Survivor this year, and we have two originals, Shane, and then the upcoming one with the Grimoire.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if that were a case, again, I don't want to set anyone's expectations. I don't. This is just like a thing. If they were, who would you want? Do you have a requested licensed survivor in your head that you can see fit in the game?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I went to the well on a couple of things. Um, John Wick. I
That
know he
would
doesn't
be.
really fit horror, but does he have to at this point? So there's a couple of things, right? Like Dead by Daylight. No, sorry, Behavior Interactive, the parent company for Dead by Daylight. For those who don't know, they're doing some virtual experiences, right? And they did a John Wick experience in Las Vegas where they developed the game that you play when you go into the John Wick experience in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if that's still running or not. And now they have a Blade Runner one as well.
I remember you were talking
So
about that in one of your videos.
so I'm like, well, you already have a relationship with these people. Could it go beyond just what you're developing for them and not just be a work for hire? Could that get you a foot in the door with the IP to bring them into DBD if you wanted them? Do people want them? I don't know. We have those surveys that they put out where they ask for license requests.
We have a new
Obviously,
one coming soon, I believe.
WWE is on the previous one. WWE. I don't know how
Hmm.
that performed. We were told that Scooby Doo was the most requested, and they landed that one. So it seems like they pay attention to those and they listen to the people with what they want on those license requests, and they go after it. They made it happen for Scooby Doo. I don't know how high wrestling bears on that, but I think we have some wrestling characters who could come in the game. Undertaker, Rhea Ripley. I don't know.
I mean, I think if you do Rhea Ripley, I mean, she has a connection to Art the Clown.
Yes,
So
yes,
let's say Art has a survivor. I don't think it would be Rhea Ripley, but maybe a legendary, something of not. I don't know if they would do that, but
could be, could
if
be.
they did WWE and Rhea Ripley, just in general, I feel like Rhea would be a perfect legendary the way Geralt was a legendary.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be more likely that WWE would be skins for existing
Yeah, and
people.
like shirts too for like original survivors, like an
Yeah,
awesome
that would make a lot of
316
sense.
shirt. And I personally, I'm a CM Punk guy. I would love a CM Punk shirt, but I feel like it would probably be more like 90s, more the more golden age of wrestling.
Yeah, and we don't know what we're getting with Terrifier. I think it's probably a good bet that we're not getting a map
Oh
with
yeah, yeah,
Terrifier because we know that we're getting the mall map in December. I think it would be unlikely that we would get map 2 months in a row, November, December, right? So I
yeah.
think it's a good
But
bet that we're not getting a map for Terrifier.
well, unless if
But
we get another
are we getting a
Forgotten
Survivor?
Ruins.
Yeah, I
Like,
suppose.
can I just like tell you something that I think can salvage Forgotten Ruins? I think the concept is really nice, like a Nightmares Walking Dead world. It just needed more. Should have put the barn from season two, Herschel's barn, like do that as like a
Yeah.
main building. But
I wish they had more pieces from Walking Dead. And
yeah,
I really don't even understand what happened there because we were first told it was just going to be a tile.
yeah,
So I was thinking, okay, so it's going to be like the clown's caravan that it's going to appear on some maps sometimes as a tile, and then it became
yeah,
its own map, and I don't know what happened there. But
yeah.
it's not a good map. It's one of the
No,
worst
it's
maps
again like
in the game.
I again I'm still like 100% super appreciative of walking. Like I'm happy. I am
Yeah,
happy.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
I like the
we can be
screams don't.
critical of things and
Yeah,
still be happy, right?
yeah. Like the screams, like I do think they're bad, but like I live
Yeah,
with it,
yeah,
because I'm
right.
happy. Um,
It's not a deal breaker.
yeah, but like again, like with art, maybe they'll do something like some type of tile. Just no withered isle, please.
Yeah,
I,
so we don't know if we're getting a survivor. I would hope that it's Sienna, but I don't know.
yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense to have Sienna to round out the chapter. I don't know.
or
So,
Eric Pope. I mean, Art did kill Pope at the anniversary.
if you had Sienna, then you could layer on that Rhea Ripley
Yeah.
legendary on her, right? So you
Hmm.
could beef up your sales. And I think Sienna has a few looks you could use as well for her for multiple cosmetics. So I don't know.
Yeah. I
I don't know.
mean, I'm not Matthew Cote. I don't know how the licensing works, but Damian Leone seems to be a very easy person to work with. So, I mean, he's always publicly talked about Dead by Daylight and stuff. So I'm sure he'll be like, yeah, let's do. So, I mean, it makes too much sense to have Sienna, you know? If I
Do
feel
they
like if
really
art,
do they really want to go like 2 chapters this year that are licensed that are just killers?
yeah, that's
You
the
know?
thing. Yeah.
I think it makes
Because
more sense to have a full chapter.
so far we're only on track for one licensed survivor this whole year. If that comes with, not including legendary skins.
Yeah.
So,
And can I share a story with you from
of
Montreal?
course.
So, um, I had a feeling that they were going to have a big reveal on the stage. I didn't know. And I thought, man, if it really is art, should I take one of my art Funko Pops, pull it out of the box, break down the box, and just bring it and maybe I can get it autographed? And I was like, nah,
Mm.
I'm not going to have access to them. It's a foolish idea. I'm not even going to bother. And then art comes out on the stage, right? I'm like, oh my God, they actually did it. And then people weren't sure if it was just somebody in an art costume or if it was actually David Howard Thornton. Well, it turned out it was really David Howard Thornton, the man who plays Art the Clown in the Terrifier movies, right?
Mm.
And he was great. Played it up for the crowd. I mean, as a mime, how much can you do with the shimmy shake and pointing at everybody and all of that. And then at the end of the event, when people dispersed, he came up to the barrier that they had to cut off the stage. And then he was like high fiving people. And then he turned his back to us and somebody behind him wound up taking a picture of all of us behind Art with him like, I like this. And it was amazing. And I'm like, that was so cool. What a cool moment. And then King and I walked out with Matthew and his wife, Pat Brutal, and we closed that place. Like we were like the last ones to leave the presentation venue. And I told King, I said, we got to go up to the respite area and get our gear. So closing that at 11, I asked the security guy when I ditched my bag before the presentation, I was like, when do I have to be here to get my stuff out of the coat check? He's like, it's closed at 11. So King said, okay, so we're going to go up there. Well, we go up into the respite area, and there's David Howard Thornton getting his makeup taken off by Damian Leone
That is
right
so
there.
cool.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're here. And so I'm like, just play it cool, you know. He's taking off his makeup and stuff, leave him alone and that. And so I just kind of watched. And the third guy there, the producer, I forget his first name, Falcone. I don't remember. He was there as well. So all three of them are there. And then once he was all cleaned up, you know, had the prosthetic removed and all the makeup wipes to get everything off and like a human again. Then I saw a couple of creators come up and get pictures with them, and they were receptive to it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I want to get a picture too. So I asked my wife to take a picture of me, and I approached Damien and David Howard Thornton and got my picture with them. And I turned to Damien and I said, this is such a full circle moment for you and me, because I remember when Steve Barton was pitching to get Terrifier and DBD publicly on Twitter, right? He was the producer for Terrifier 2, I want to say. I think. But, you know, people were calling Steve cringe on Twitter saying, oh my God, look how desperate this guy is. He's begging to be in Dead by Daylight, blah, blah, blah. Which I didn't care about that. I thought, look, man, you got to shoot your shot in this life. You got to let people know if you're receptive to work with them and know on certain terms and reach out like that, right? So shortly, like about a month after Steve Barton had written that on Twitter, Damian Leone was at Niagara Falls Comic Con. This is 3 years ago. And Terrifier wasn't what it is now. Like Damian Leone had nobody at his table. I could just walk up and have a conversation with him. You couldn't do that now. Terrifier is huge now.
Yeah,
So I walked up to Damien and I said, hey, so I noticed Steve like reached out to Dead by Daylight on Twitter and said y'all want art in DBD. You hear back anything? And he was like, no, we haven't heard anything, but we want to do it. We'd love to do it. And so I told this to Damien. I said, this is a full circle moment for me because I met you 3 years ago and we talked about the prospect of art coming to DBD. And now I said, now you're here and I'm here 3 years later. Like what a full circle moment and the heights that, you know, you've reached since then. And I'm here with you again. It was just a cool experience awesome. And they were really friendly and got a picture with them and stuff. And yeah.
In the words of Morgan from Walking Dead, everything has a return. There you go.
Yeah, it was just like surreal.
It's quite amazing with how big Terrifier has blown up because, you know, obviously we already have our Mount Rushmore of horror, but if you want to talk about Mount Rushmore of modern horror, I think art is instantly the first one. Instantly.
Yeah, and I'm surprised too because, you know, to be fair, it's pretty gruesome. It's not like everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's not, to me, it's more gore than horror. It's more shock value violence instead of scariness, right? So I'm like, wow, the way this property has been accepted by the public. I remember reading like when this whole, I was making videos saying, hey, you know, Terrifier 2's out. Steve Barton saying that art is ready to be in DBD. Do we want him? You know? And I was doing research for that, and they were there were articles on internet about people vomiting in the theater when they saw Terrifier 2, or just plain old walking out because they couldn't handle
Mhm.
the content of the movie. And we had the same thing with Terrifier 3, those same kind of stories that people were like, oh, this is too much. I can't watch this. So it's not for everybody, but man, is it big in horror.
Yeah.
Like, I collect these Funko Pops.
Hmm.
They're making Art the Clown like it's going out of style, like all
Yeah.
different kinds of versions of art, like nothing I've seen in recent memory of any other horror property, just getting
It's
release after release after release. Like, here's art with on a tricycle, here's art on a toilet, here's art with his sunglasses on,
yeah.
like, and on. Every different version of art they can make, and I'm like, wow. And they
Yeah.
wouldn't be making them if they aren't selling. So people are embracing it.
And I guarantee you, with his release in Dead by Daylight, like those sunglasses, going to be a cosmetic. The
Oh,
Santa outfit, it's going to be.
oh
And
yeah,
then if behavior gets creative freedom,
yeah.
blighted
To make
art.
Blight, or yeah, you're right, you're
Oh
right, you're
man,
right.
yeah. That's. I mean, I'm happy for the creators and especially David Howe because I think the reason why it's so successful is David owns the role and he doesn't have the lines. He just lets the expressions do the story, and
Yeah,
he
he's very
owns it.
talented at that.
Yeah, he's very, very good with that.
I thought it was interesting what Dork said, where she chatted with him, just regular conversation, and then like he went into like the zone to get into the character for about 20 minutes before it was showtime, where he shut it down, the mime, to get into the role. I thought that was pretty interesting insight that
Yeah,
she shared on that. But yeah, he's very good at what he does.
yeah, he's unbelievable, and that's part of if an actor can hook you without saying words, then that shows how much the impact that they leave. You know, the just the mannerisms that he has.
Yeah, yep,
So good.
very
I'm
good with
excited. Yeah,
his physicality telling the story.
yeah, and that's one of the good things to look forward to this year, as we were saying, because I mean they announced so much stuff, and that's the thing. Like we're not going to be able to unpack all of it, but like art, I genuinely do think art is going to be one of their biggest chapters. I really do believe that because I see how well that because there's it's not for everyone as you said, but
Hmm.
look how much
But in DVD,
money
it
it
doesn't have to
makes.
be.
Yeah. Look how much money they make. Look at you could go to the Funko Pops every, Spirit Halloween. I don't know if they have those in Canada, but when that
Yep, yep,
opens,
yep.
oh my dude, art's like the face of Spirit Halloween at this point. Like every year I go, it's art. Everything is like mostly Art the Clown.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to
They,
argue with you that he might have the George Washington bust on the Mount Rushmore of modern horror.
yeah, mm-hmm.
You know, what else we gonna put up there? Megan, who's it going to be?
Black
Like,
Phone maybe the Grabber.
yeah, the grabber.
I
I would
put
say that I don't think those are even in the same ballpark.
yeah as art. No, art is like the like art again. I can't not compare him to the originals, but if art was back in like the 80s, 90s, like he probably would be like the biggest one. And I think it's because of how David portrays it. He's just so damn good.
Yeah, it's well done.
Yeah.
I mean, what else have you got? Like, Smile. I mean, like, they're not. There's nothing that's
Yeah.
close to.
You know who I like? You know who I really like?
Tell me.
There's an actor, Jack O'Connell, who has been nailing the horror world lately. He was Remick in Sinners. Have you seen Sinners?
I have seen Sinners.
He was the head vampire, and he
Oh
was
yeah, yeah.
also Jimmy Crystal in the 28 years later sequels, The Bone
Okay, yeah,
Temple.
yeah.
Both those roles, I thought he was absolutely incredible. I thought 28 years later, The Bone Temple was one of the most disturbing movies I've seen in a long time, but one of the best for horror. And he's going to be in A Quiet Place Part 3. I think O'Connell is making a name for himself in the horror world. And again, I don't know if if any of these characters would ever make it in Dead by Daylight, but I think Jack O'Connell in general is someone to look out for.
Quiet
He is
Place
pretty
would be an
great.
interesting license for DVD. Be
That
very
would.
different.
I mean, I'd love Emily Blunt. I'd also love Killian Murphy. That would be pretty cool. Would they
Yeah,
be able to? I mean, would they? That's all up to the actors. I feel like they'd probably get voice, but
Quiet Place would be pretty good pick for up there in modern horror, I would say.
yeah. Do you have a favorite? I know Candyman is your favorite, but like, do you have a favorite besides Candyman? Do you have like an absolute favorite horror film?
I mean, they say like the first thing you're exposed to is like your favorite. Like if you ask somebody who, for example, their favorite James Bond is, most people will say the first person they ever saw play James Bond.
Yeah.
Just like an imprint kind of a thing.
Same with
So,
Spider-Man.
yeah, right. That's a good point. Um, so some of my first horror experiences, I'm old, remember, were Amityville Horror and The Omen, right? So those were kind of strong with me just because it was so visceral at my young age to see stuff like that. And, I don't even think they're necessarily that scary in hindsight now. But then they were like, oh my gosh, these are really something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Not big franchises or really anything that could translate to DBD. But yeah, those are
Mine's
some
The
of my horror
Shining.
films. Shining is great, but I was a little older then. But yeah, Shining is amazing. I would love. I mean, I don't think
That's my
anybody.
dream.
Yeah, I don't think it's any secret that I would love to get Stephen King
Yeah.
on board,
That's
but I just don't know. It just seems like an impossible task.
that's my dream chapter that I see forever a dream. And I also, if they ever did get on board with Stephen King, I don't even think we get the movie version because King does not like the movie,
Yeah, I know.
which is valid. I mean, it's valid. I understand. I think the book, I read the book a while ago. Movie's still fresh. I thought the book was good. We have a good book and we have a good movie. But
Yeah,
man, the Overlook Hotel as a map,
yeah,
that would
yeah.
be,
I mean, oh boy.
yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about dream scenario. I really like Doctor Sleep too. I thought that was a
Yeah.
wonderful
Mm-hmm.
movie. It was really, really good.
And you know what I loved about it? They did not they did not do any type of CGI or AI with like, Torrance, Jack, and Wendy. They just got new actors. It was the same, it was a sequel, but they recasted them and I thought dude, I thought it was I loved Doctor Sleep. I think that is which not many people know about that movie. I talk to people who are like, they made a sequel. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's a little
yeah,
under the radar. People don't really talk about it like after release and stuff.
yeah.
And I didn't even know until I went to Niagara Falls Comic Con a year or two ago that the boy who played Elliot in E.T. is the bartender in Doctor Sleep.
Really?
Think so. Think so.
See, that's what's cool about movies is like you'll see an actor in something and then you'll check IMDb and you're gonna be like, wait a minute, this is the kid from so and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
I would
Shining
love
is
it. I mean, I can't figure it out. I don't know. It's another one of these unanswerable questions. I don't know if it's like Stephen King is personal, like, kids should be reading, not playing video games. I'm the last bastion. I'm the guardian,
yeah.
Meanwhile, his son, his son is Joe Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote Black Phone. That's Stephen King's son,
Who did
who
Fortnite?
owns that
Yeah,
property, and that's in grabbers in video games.
yeah.
So I don't know. Like, can't you talk to your dad? Talk some sense into your dad that video games aren't all bad.
I, I, I think it's gonna come to a point, and maybe it's gonna take the Dead by Daylight movie to push that, because that's one thing about Stephen King is he watches everything he does,
Yeah.
and he will give a review about it. Like, I think the Dead by Daylight movie is what's gonna have to take to sell him. So you never
Well,
know.
I don't know. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. I'll tell you one thing. So I don't know if you've been looking in the archives at these clues over the Black Banquet, right?
The
The day,
photo.
yeah, right. You notice the back of that photo, what
Mm-hmm.
it says on the
Yep.
back?
Same date.
1921,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, so is that a hint? Are they letting us know that for year 11, we got
Greatest ending.
something?
Greatest ending to a movie, by the way, in my opinion. Just
Yeah,
random thought, but
yeah,
I
it's
did
really
I did
good.
notice when I first saw it. I was like, oh, okay. I personally view it as just like an Easter egg, a nod, but
It could
then
just
ag-
be an homage,
but then
but
again,
what if
that
it's not? What if it's like, hey, we told you right to your face that we're getting The Shining for year 11?
I think Schmuckles made a good point, and he said, I think it was Schmuckles said they purposely started speculation on Pennywise to put the license holders on notice, like just to
I
get
don't
the
know if that's true.
discussion. Maybe
I
not,
have
but there was
seen
a
people
lot of
say that
discussion.
they used the community to show the amount of interest in it. I don't know if that's true. I will say it's a hell of a lot of coincidences for it not to be that, like the damn firework to make the
Yeah,
shape of Pennywise face in the sky.
yeah,
I'm like, what? But
yeah,
you could see, like, even if they did sprinkle, like I have always said that the way you defeat leakers, well, there's two ways. One way is you just put everything out on board, so you're in control of your own narrative, and you lay out the entire year for us ahead of time, so that nobody can spoil anything. You control your own narrative. You tell us everything, so the leakers can't get the jump on you because you've told us. That's the one thing. The other thing I would say is I always was in favor of putting sprinkles of seeds of red herring so nobody knows what's really happening, because there are so many different minor clues that might point to multiple licenses, right? And that helps
yeah,
keep it under the radar. But however, if you do that, you have to make sure that none of the seeds take so much root that people are convinced of it and they convince others of it. And then if you don't deliver the thing that everybody thinks it is, then that backfires on you. And we saw that a little bit with Hellraiser, and people thought that it was Five Nights at Freddy's, and there were like two camps pushing and pulling against each other. This is Hellraiser, this is Five Nights at Freddy's. And then the Five Nights at Freddy's people were kind of spurned by it to the point where, you had the other people making fun of the ones who were in favor of Five Nights at Freddy's, and in their face making them feel bad, which, you
yeah,
should never do that to somebody who's passionate about a license. It's classless. But with this one, the Pennywise pull was strong. Certainly it was for me. And
mm-hmm.
I convinced a lot of people of it along the way as well. And so much so that you can see that the devs realized they had to, basically tell us it's not Pennywise, so that we wouldn't be upset when we're all like, oh yeah, here comes Pennywise out on the stage. And it's like, wait a minute, Art the Clown, what you mean? So they had to like nip that in the bud so that the community wouldn't be upset and have it backfire, which I respect. I think that is the correct decision.
Yeah,
If you see one theory taking root too strongly, it's the community management's team to redirect. And that's
Yeah.
what they did. And I completely agree with the decision, and I'm glad that they did. So I think it wound up being for the best in the end with the art reveal. Like, okay, they're telling us we got to look elsewhere. So let's look elsewhere. And then I was like, well, it's art then, right? That's what it is. If it's not Pennywise, it's art. And there were still people who didn't believe it. They're like, oh, they're just telling us it's not Pennywise because they want us to be surprised. I'm like, no, 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 no. They would never do that. They would never do that.
Yeah.
They would just
I
let us continue to believe and wonder and then reveal it and go, oh, we were right. We're so smart, you know?
I was like, see, like before Jason, I was like, okay, it has to be Pennywise because like they did the "You Belong to It." I think you were the one who pointed
Yeah.
out in It Part Two, I believe. There's like letters, and then the one is the same font as the anniversaries for the
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
that. So I was like, there's just way too many coincidences. But then it ended up not being Pennywise, which obviously I'm fine because we get Jason. But then we go back to it with that anniversary trailer where you see the balloons, you see the clown. But what sold me is you see like that spinning board thing, and it had a red balloon, and it
Right.
was
And
very
then,
focused on.
like, shot for shot from, I don't know if you're aware, but the original It with Tim Curry, that was a TV series,
Mhm.
right? It was on like 2 nights, 4 hours of television. Where Richie is in the library and all the multicolored balloons go up to the ceiling in that scene. It's like shot for shot what happens in
Too
the
many.
trailer. The multicolored balloons all flying up and hitting the ceiling, right? So I'm like, well, this has got to be. There's so many things. But it turned out it was just coincidence. I don't really think that they would use the community to show how much interest there is. I don't think like it's a secret to Stephen King that people want Pennywise in video games. I don't think that
Yeah.
that would make a difference. So I don't believe in the theory that they're trying to use the community to show how much interest there is. I think it was more of like, let's keep people guessing. What can we do? And another thing that I'll tell you that happened in Montreal, the fellow who was in charge of creating that whole teaser trailer with the how old are you, you know, and the counting and the birthdays and everything,
Yeah.
he came up to me and he wanted to introduce himself to me. He said, you know, I was in charge of creating that trailer. And he said, I just want to tell you how much we appreciated your coverage of it. Like my team and I would just watch your theories on it every time you put out a new video, which was like, you know, to have somebody say that they appreciated your work in that way and the interpretation and stuff. And it was a pretty cool moment for me. I had a lot of cool moments in Montreal with things like that. People who wanted to meet me and were, you know, important on the behavior side of things, which was like, you know who I am? Like, you know, so that was pretty cool that he said that they kind of like wanted to just digest my video as a team and see what I came up with out of what they put in there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
That's, I mean, you without your videos, I mean, the thing that's important, the most important thing is these discussions, you know, what you cover, everything, you know, because that's what gets the community talking, but it's what gets the community together.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why you're the best at what you do. You really
Well,
are. I mean that.
well, just to cover that point about you said that keeps the community coming together. I don't think of all this stuff on my own, right? I observe what other people are saying. I read my comments, and then I'll kind of either like look at this and I'll go, "Oh, this has legs. This is a good idea. This could be what it is." And then I'll, you know, run with that and say, "Yeah, I got this from comments, and they brought this to my attention. I think this is absolutely true." And because, like, you know, people had said that the red flowers flying through the air. And I said, well, the pipe is related to Silent Hill because that's like the weapon that's like in every Silent Hill game. So it said something Silent Hill. And then they went back and said, yeah, but earlier in it, you see those red flowers flying through the air. That's also Silent Hill F. And I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, okay. I haven't played Silent Hill F, so I didn't know. So I read the comments and I go, that's a good point. I'll follow up on that. And there'll be other things that, I'll dismiss. They're like, oh, well, this shape in the background looks like a dinosaur. I'll be like, no, 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 no. We're not putting that one in. But it's like, it's kind of like it takes a village kind of thing. I'm not doing
Yeah.
this all by myself. Like the community helps me craft these videos with things they see, observe, bring to my attention, tag me on Twitter, send me private messages, send me emails. And, that's the process. It's not all me. I'm not that smart. I'm
Yeah.
not that smart or that observant. So,
Because,
like the voice for the community on this stuff.
and that, but you know what? That's why I love the game. That's why I love the community.
Yeah.
Everyone comes together, and seeing that happen, again, I'm barely on Twitter anymore. I can't. It's gotten to a point where it's just like I can't see the same
It
drama,
can be rough. It can be
It's
rough,
very rough. But there are those good moments where you see things like that where people are coming together, and especially like people who make concept art, concept, like as I was saying BioShock earlier,
Man,
seeing
we have
that.
so many talented people.
Yeah. And the cosplay the cosplay showcase at the thing, there were some. I know you said you weren't able to see it, but man,
I
there were
watched it
just so
after on
many.
the
Oh, you did?
video.
Yeah.
I watched
There
it
were
on video,
so
yeah.
many talented people, that the aces. But it's so good. It was so
the
good, and
the
I love
Minotaur,
the Minotaur,
Vizzy's
Springtrap.
Crossu. Yeah,
Yeah,
Springtrap. So
it's
that's my friend James, right? That's him.
yeah. Ken Koniki. They just
Yeah,
yeah.
and so James was on the pack stream last year as the unknown. Like he was in the front row. Like if you watch the pack
That was
stream,
it. I remember.
yeah,
I
that's the same
remember
guy.
that.
That's the same guy, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm excited for, Paulie? I- I'm excited for the Dead by Daylight movie, just so we could get some videos of you talking about that, doing some speculation. Even like when the movie's out, like I can see you watching it and like picking out the Easter eggs, and that's gonna be exciting.
Oh, that'll be fun. Man, I just hope it's good. And I think it will be because I think Jason Blum's the right guy to make it. That was another thing when I went to ditch my bag because I did my autograph signing and I had all this gear with me. Then I'm like, I don't want to take all this to the presentation. I'm going to ditch this up in the respite area at the coat check before I go down to the presentation. So I went up to ditch my bag and then I had to hustle. I literally got in my seat like 3 minutes before the presentation started. I sat down and it said starting in 3 minutes on the screen. I was like, holy cow, I cut that so close. But when I went to the coat check to ditch my bag, I ditched my bag and I looked over and I'm like, oh, well, there's Jason Bloom. So I guess I know one of the things that's happening on the stream tonight because he was in this respite area having a drink and talking to people. Like, oh, Jason Bloom's here. Okay, I guess I know one thing that's happening. So then I went to my seat and I just turned to Die Hard Diva who was sitting beside me and I said, I saw one of the VIPs up in the respite area. I said, but I'm not going to tell you who it is because I don't want to spoil it for you. And that was it. And then he came out. Yeah, I think he's the right guy for the job. Yeah, I just hope it's
Yeah,
good. Like,
I think the thing with Jason is his like with FNAF, it's for the fans. And he said that too. Like he doesn't care what Hollywood's gonna think.
I think that's the
It's
right
for the
approach.
fans, and that is. I mean, in my head, I'm always just trying to figure out like how is this gonna be done? Like how is the movie gonna be done? Is it gonna be like casting like a Frank Stone type style, where there's gonna be like some narrative, or are we gonna get like full on trials? Is there gonna maybe? I doubt it, but is there gonna be maybe some type of license crossover? Like, could there be a Ghostface appearance? I
They
don't
could go into
know.
numbers with it. I think there's a
Uh,
lot of rich stories that can be told. And, I'm just putting in the trust and hoping that fans like it. I think that's the right approach is to make it a fans first movie. I think we have enough fans. I mean, heck, we're trying to get 20 million people to do the community achievement, right? the milestone. We need 20 million people to play 5 trials in the event. Can we then get 20 million people to go watch this movie? You know,
Yeah.
that'd be okay, right? I guess that'd be decent. I don't know,
I'm
but
hoping you get a cameo.
eh. I mean, I'd be there with bells on if they asked me, but it's not by any means an expectation
Do you
at
think
whatsoever.
do you think Matthew will have a cameo? Do you see that happening?
That's a possibility. It's a possibility. What if he was some guy who was like, I don't know, in a just in a store having like a team meeting? He's like, I think we did a pretty good job so far. Like talking to his staff, trying to rally them up or something.
That's the
Oh
type
my god, everybody would lose it,
that's the type
right?
of Easter egg Jason would include, because there's that type of stuff with FNAF that only FNAF fans get. Because when I saw FNAF, the second one, see, I'm not too familiar with the games, but
Nor am
everyone
I.
was
Just a
losing their
little bit.
minds. Everyone was losing their minds. So
I
it's
love that it's fans first,
yeah,
and that he said that. Like,
yeah,
what's that one trailer that came out recently? Is it like a Resident Evil movie that's like Resident Evil in name only? They're like, this is
yeah,
like an NPC point of view
yeah.
Resident Evil movie. I'm like, what is this? I don't know.
See, I think the director of that is good, Zach Kreger. Um, I don't know
Maybe
how
it'll
I
work.
feel. I am rooting for it though, because he did Weapons and Barbarian. I thought
Yeah,
those two were
yeah.
very good.
I
So
like both those movies. I like
yeah,
both those movies.
I never count
We'll see.
anyone
I don't
out.
know. When you have okay, weapons and barbarian, you don't go into that with any expectations, right?
Yeah,
But when you stamp a movie with the name of a video game, there's going to be some expectations and you
yeah.
have to deliver on those. So
It's like the new
we'll
Silent
see,
Hill movie that flopped.
right? And Until Dawn, people weren't
Until
happy
Dawn,
with
yeah,
that either,
Until Dawn, yeah.
right?
So many. I mean, God, it's originally a book, but The Witcher show on Netflix, another one, started off good. Then it drifted away from source material, and it just, yeah,
Yeah, I think like Jason Blum hit the nail on the head when he said that Hollywood's getting it wrong when they say, "Yeah, you know video games, but we know movies, so just let us make it." It's like,
yeah.
no, that's the wrong approach. So I'm hopeful. I don't know when we would. Did they announce it? Like, I don't think they announced like a release date. Would it be like
I think they
fall
said
next
only
year?
like one, or it films next year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
depends on the edit requirement and stuff. But
I hope it's a good
looking forward to it.
cast. I hope, yeah. I mean, Chandler. I hope Chandler gets a part in that. I mean, I think it would be great for
That'd be
him.
cool.
I think
I
Justin
saw
Long
somebody
belongs.
somebody was telling me that they read on Twitter that Joe Keery's playing Steve in the Dead by Daylight movie. I'm like, that's not real. That's not happening. That's not a thing that's happening. This is
Oh,
a
this
Dead by Daylight movie. This isn't a Stranger Things movie.
does this mean Andrew Lincoln will be returning as Rick Grimes?
I mean, you know, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that it's all going to be original DBD characters. I don't
Yeah.
know for sure, but it muddies the water when you start
I feel
layering in
like
these licenses.
I feel like the only licensed character that I'm not expecting it, but if it were to happen, I would probably say Ghostface, because it's Dead by Daylight's Ghostface, not Scream
Right,
Ghostface. So it would
right.
be Danny Johnson. So you never know. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be one that would be like a maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audience would lose their minds. If that does happen, I hope they don't even announce that. Just let it happen in the movie. You cannot, you know, that would be.
Yeah. So
Oh,
just to change subjects, just to circle back to something, um, I think that was an amazing idea that you had to get the cameo for Chandler, and it was very inventive and clever, and led to where we are today. And I really appreciated that Dead by Daylight invited you out there because, like I said, it just demonstrated that they're the company who I think they are. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
do it for fanfare and pat themselves on the back and say, look how good we are. Look what we did. Even when I reached out to you, right? In the same vein, I just did it personally, right? I'm not like, look at me, I'm telling Ricky how great he is because
Yeah.
of this. It was just like a personal thing that they did
Yeah.
as a nice gesture for you to include you because they knew that it meant something to you.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of company that I know they are. Oh, and on that point, we talked about how people had traveled so far to be in Montreal. We had people come from Guam, Japan, and everything. I saw in the Dead Meat Gaming video that Zoran did with Dave and Matthew for the 10th anniversary. There was a couple who traveled from Ireland to come to the Dead by Daylight event in Montreal, and they bought fake tickets. And they didn't know that they had been scammed. Traveled all the way from Ireland, showed up, their tickets are no good. But you know what happened? Dead by Daylight let them in,
Yeah.
got them in. Again, the kind of company that you and I
Yeah. No.
know they are. Make that happen, right?
And you know, when I was invited and when I got there, I was treated equal to Chandler. Like they wanted to know who I was. They wanted to get to know about me. Like every 5-10 minutes, like I kept getting asked, like, would you like water, anything to eat? Like they went above and beyond for me. And the thing is, after that, they could have just like what like some of them still talk to me. And the fact that I get to keep in touch, like how I got to go out with dinner, like after Montreal, I just met up with
Mm-hmm.
Dork and Omnia. To be able to still keep in touch, and I mean that's everything to me. And I don't view them as game developers of my favorite game. I feel them as human beings. And some of the best conversations I've had have been with them. My episodes with Eric, I know you've seen that, but Dork and Omnia were so like some of the best conversations I've had because I think believe it or not, I'm a guy who has very bad social anxiety. I have very bad social anxiety.
I would not have guessed that,
And
honestly.
so for me to feel comfortable with who I talk with, like with you, who I have on like my podcast, I'm comfortable with, and I'm just like that's just who I am. But Montreal, like going back in July, or when was that? August. God, time's flying fast. Going back in August, it's just like I felt at home. I was treated like I was at home. I was a nervous wreck going. I honestly was, but I felt equal to Chandler. That's how they treat me. And Chandler was the nicest guy ever. And I tried not to bother him with Walking Dead questions. I tried talking to him, and I think that's just why, So it was just a wonderful experience, and I'm grateful to Behavior for flying me out, and I'm grateful to some of them for keeping in touch time to time and just you know treating me like a human. So
Yeah, it wasn't like you were, an accessory for a showpiece for like, look what we did. We brought this
yeah,
guy. Like
no,
that's
yeah,
what I mean. Like, I'm not surprised at anything that you're telling me. It
yeah,
doesn't surprise me, because
they
that's
are,
who
yeah.
I know who they. That's who I know they are.
Hmm.
You know they are,
And
and we see that.
sitting
We've
with
had the pleasure of seeing that.
yeah, and sitting with Matthew, like talking to Matthew is I and he said it too. It's just like I feel like I'm not a celebrity because I'm just a guy who, makes the game. And I think for him, it's a little weird too because, people online, He's the face of Dead by Daylight, whether he likes that
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
He is.
Hmm.
And just but like meeting Matt and talking to him, getting to know him, you know, again, I forgot he was a dev from Dead by Daylight. I was just like, and it was such a wonderful, it was just all a wonderful experience. And I'm so sad because me, Matthew, and Chandler did something so fun, so cool. I'll say this. You see, there's a picture of me, Chandler, and Matt on the couch.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Something
It's
happened.
is it your banner
We
on Twitter, right? That's like, yeah.
That picture, we did something really cool. I don't know if it'll ever get. I can't. I don't think I can even say what it is because I don't want to get in trouble because it's never.
It's
I don't
fair.
know if it will ever. But
Fair.
we did something that I'll never forget. And even after that, I did something with Chandler and Dork and people. Like a lot more happened that day than the stream. That's all I'll say. And I'm sad that I'll never. If Behavior hears this, I
Yeah.
hope you guys know how much I appreciate that. And it was best time of my life.
That's awesome. I mean, like Montreal for me was, you know, top core memory
Yeah.
experience. Like you said, like treated like gold,
Yeah. I well
no
it truly
complaints.
was. And the community's reaction was valid. It really was. Like the frustration
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Chandler.
yeah. I
But
get
I
it. That's
wish
why I would like for them to have a redo, a redemption moment, right?
yeah. I wish they yeah, I wish the community could have known what we did. Because again,
Hindsight's 2020 on everything, right?
yeah.
Like
I'll
coulda,
tell
woulda, shoulda.
I'll tell you after like once I stop recording, I'll tell you what it is.
Don't tell me. People ask me. Everybody knows I can't keep a secret.
But it was but yeah, I don't know. And I'm so grateful to people like Dork and Omnia because they truly are how the like whenever Dork's not on the stream, everyone goes on a panic. And it's valid because she's again, I think Dork is becoming the new face of Dead by Daylight.
We're
She
lucky. We
is.
are
We're
lucky. We
lucky.
have,
We are.
good community people in those
Yeah.
spots. And when people say things that are like detractors of theirs, I don't get it. I don't see what they're seeing. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, y'all are nuts because our team's great. We're lucky
Yeah.
to have them. You'll be sad if we lose them, you
Oh
know?
no, 100%. Like I saw how devastated the devs were when what was happening with the stream. There was so much like I saw tears in people's eyes as it was happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super
It,
stressful moment. People want to
yeah.
like lash out for people's reactions in the moment. Like, it's the most stressful situation
Yeah.
you could possibly imagine in the capacity of, you know, their jobs.
Mm,
And like, again, you just got to give them some grace. Sometimes stuff gets
yeah.
messed up. I mean, look at like the newest Survivor. Like they have a live stream of Survivor, and Jeff Probst winds up spoiling like a whole segment because he doesn't even know where they're at in the show. He reveals something that they hadn't shown us that happened on the show yet. And it can happen to anybody. The most
yeah.
seasoned guy after 50 years, or not 50 years, 50 seasons, so 25 years, and he winds up spoiling part of the show live. It can
We
happen to anybody. You
we
got to
all
just
make
show people grace in these moments and just like, well, that wasn't great.
you
But
know similar to so my dad used to be partners with WWE. His company was partners sponsored by WWE. This was before TKO bought WWE. Things are a mess going on with WWE right now, but even back then there was like still like a lot of fan backlash with WWE and stuff, and as it's always been. Um, I remember an event, I believe it was SummerSlam 2016. I was there. I was sitting with the community relations and like all people back like behind the scenes WWE and stuff. And the main event of the show did not go the way people wanted. This was Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Yeah, Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. And I saw like people backstage and like how they were like, they were genuinely heartbroken that it didn't live up to fans' expectations. So whenever something like that happens, when something doesn't go the right way, there are people who work for the company, whatever, have feelings. They genuinely like have feelings. So I think a lot of people on Twitter don't. Well, I think again, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but I think a lot of people on Twitter
Don't
don't
wait a
work.
minute. Are
Don't
you
have a
going to
good.
tell me that people on Twitter don't take other people's feelings into consideration? Stop the presses.
I think there's a lot of people on Twitter who don't have a social life and don't work and don't know how businesses operate. And that there are people who have feelings and people who try their hardest.
Yeah, I mean, when I never have understood when people say these devs are lazy or this or that. Like, let's be honest. We have seen rounds of layoffs with this company, as we have with many other companies in this
Yeah.
space, right? So for anybody to assume that people aren't doing their best when, frankly, their jobs could be on the line
Mm-hmm.
is absurd to me, because you know that, like, if this doesn't go over well, there could be another round of layoffs. Unfortunately, the gaming space got hit hard in recent years with lots of jobs being shed. I'm no fan of anybody losing their job anywhere, especially with behavior. I want the game to thrive and be able to employ the same amount of people or grow and hire more people and be amazing, which is one of the reasons I'm complaining about the cakes. But anyway, like, yeah, like that. I think everybody is really doing their best,
Yeah.
genuinely. They're not like mailing it in, because I think they have pride. They want to make fans happy, deliver a good product, have the game be successful and everybody loving it and all this stuff, right? And I'll tell you one thing that I had of a dev who will remain nameless. I'm not going to say who they were, but they approached me when I was saying how wonderful everything was in Montreal. The atmosphere was great. Like, the best way I can explain the experience to anyone who wasn't there is it's like Disneyland meets Dead by Daylight, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like a Dead by Daylight theme park, essentially, with so much to do, so many panels, so many events. You would be hard pressed to do everything. You would have to like pick and choose. And I just basked in this atmosphere, and it made everybody so happy. Like, everywhere you looked, everybody was smiling, everybody was happy. But the one thing that I hadn't considered, which this dev conveyed to me, is they said, as much as it made everybody who was there so happy, we as devs needed it too. We needed to see all these happy people face to
Yeah.
face and give us the realization that we, the makers of the game, make all of these people happy. Because let's face it, on Twitter, they are met with a slew of negativity, which has to be a morale buster all the time when you see all these people saying negative things about your team, your game, your work that you have done specifically, right? It has to wear you down. So this individual told me that they needed that as much as we all did, to see the love firsthand, give them that affirmation that what they're doing matters to people, that it makes people happy. And I'm so happy for them that they were able to bask in that moment and see it, see the joy, give them a morale booster, like we're doing good work here. It makes people happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they don't get that enough. Certainly don't get it enough on Twitter. So to see it firsthand from 3,000 attendees, I hadn't considered the weight of that for them,
Yeah.
but I'm very happy that they had that moment. You know,
Yeah. And I think like when I went back in August, I was able to tell some of them how the game impacted me. And I remember just like one particular dev who's amazing. One who I was tracking down at the event and I could not find them, but like she just like had like this tear of joy kind of like look like her eyes are watering and stuff, and it's just like you see how much they care when they hear, you know. And again, I know things can be very complicated with the game. I know, and like feelings are valid, they are, but at the end of the day, they're trying their best. They are. And there's certain people who can't do things about certain things too. It's a huge
yeah, the
company.
buck doesn't
It's a
stop with them
huge,
for
yeah.
decisions, right?
It's
There's
a
decisions that are made.
yeah, it's a huge company. That's how business is too. It's just like there's so many people, so many factors into things. There has to be so many you know. I guarantee you that some people have ideas that get rejected and some people have,
I'm
you
sure.
know.
I'm sure. Yeah,
So but yeah, that's just how it goes, and I
it's
just don't
just
think
business,
people.
right?
Yeah,
Like when when the event happened, people were like, "Well, they need to fix this." I'm like, "Well, there's some holidays in the mix here, some vacations, some federal holidays, and they need to have meetings and decide these things. They just don't
yeah,
like change stuff at the drop of a hat.
hmm,
It's just the way business works. So you got to give them some time. I'm glad that
yeah,
they had a statement a week later. But at the end of the day, I think too many of us forget that these are human beings with feelings, and we can be a little harsh. Like I saw people saying that whoever designed this event, I hope they're in the next round of layoffs, like stuff like that.
yeah.
It's like,
That I hate.
what are
I
you
hate.
talking about? Like,
I hate stuff like that. Like
yeah,
that happened with the cabin situation. Like
mm-hmm,
I
yeah.
hate. And the people who say that are the ones who are unemployed. But it's like
I mean,
it's just
happy and successful people don't act that way, right? That's about the
yeah,
only point I can put on that. So,
yeah. It's just I don't. Yeah, Twitter's just a brutal place, and I
well,
feel
not
bad for
Twitter. You
community.
can go into Reddit and a few
Oh,
other
Reddit, no,
places
Reddit
and find
too.
the same
Yeah,
kind of a
Facebook.
reaction, or
Yeah,
not
I'm
isolated to just Twitter, but
no,
yeah,
yeah,
social
yeah.
media in general, I would say,
Social,
is going to
yeah.
be more toxic than if you and I are face to face.
Thank God I'm not on any other social. I mean, I'm on Instagram, and Instagram can be brutal, but I'm more. See, I have my Ricky Dicky profile, but I also have my own personal profile. So thank God all that's tailored to like friends and family. So I see wholesome things, but like I'm not really on Reddit. I'm not. I check Reddit time to time. I checked Reddit a lot during the like leading up to the anniversary. But yeah, thank God I'm not a social media guy because it's kind of it's brutal. Twitter alone was, you know,
But it's internet
it,
courage, right? These are
yeah.
things that they would never say to the person's face,
Oh, they
right?
would never. They would never.
Yeah.
It's the people who have no profile picture. One, oh yeah, one of my favorite things is like before I was like anonymous and everything. Like I remember like people would be like jobless virgin and stuff. It's like I have a fucking job and I have a girlfriend, and they're the ones with like no profile picture. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a different world, but it's just the nature of people, I guess. But I just wish that more people would uh, show their appreciation for the devs. But I think like if you did, then all of the negative people would just jump you. You know what I mean? So I think it's like the silent majority kind of thing. That
Yeah.
they're happy with the game. They're happy. The game makes them happy. Is it perfect? No, but it still makes them happy. And if they were to like reach out to the devs, say something about happy 10th anniversary, they could get jumped. So they just stay quiet.
Yeah. I do hope that some devs are listening to this and know that we do appreciate them because
Yeah.
like you guys really are
Yeah. I
amazing, you
mean,
know?
it's done so much for so many people's lives.
Yeah,
Like
it really has. And
introduced me to you, like
mm-hmm.
introduced you to Dork and Omnia, right?
Yeah.
Like it's enriches people's lives on levels beyond the game, introducing people, making connections, making relationships. We've seen it time and time again. People met on the game, got married.
Mm. I
So
saw that, yeah.
yeah.
It's yeah, it's amazing. And I think the event in Montreal was living proof of what the community has done for people. I hope they do another one of those sometime. Maybe, you know,
Well, the campfire on tour was one of the things they talked about there, right? So
yeah.
we'll see where that goes. I'm hoping if it does go on tour that it'll be at a nearby venue that I could reasonably attend.
Yeah. I hope they come back to Boston. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Anywhere in New England for me. But I honestly would not mind driving
Right in
back to
front of
Montreal.
Stephen King's house in Maine. We're going to show this guy. Yeah, I don't know.
Can you bring the clown mask with your picket signs and
We got to get through to him one way or another. Yeah, I don't know.
that would be
But
great.
I don't know how long it would take for them to, you know, book venues and get a tour thing. But I think that's great when they have like HorrorCon Scotland and
Yeah.
the travel to Japan or Tadaima and then Thailand. And yeah.
That's another thing I quickly want to say. I don't want to take any more of your time because I know you're probably tired at this point. It's
I don't know if
1:13
anybody's
a.m.
going to stick
It
with
is
us
this is
and watch
one
this thing all the way. It's going to be
well,
lengthy, but it
we'll,
doesn't
we'll,
bother me. I like it.
we'll have a nice clickbait title to make everyone get to but that's the other thing. So I remember when All Kill Comeback came out, and like there's people like complaining. I saw people complain. So it's like, why are we getting like another this that? This is like their audience, like Dead by Daylight's audience is not just it's all around the world. You know, they're reaching out, and it's like with Tokyo Ghoul. I know some people don't agree with Tokyo Ghoul being in the game, but it's reaching out to a wider audience and it's smart business. Again, I'm not a fan of the
I
Ghoul, but it is smart business.
completely agree with you. Like,
So
people don't even realize how much bigger Dead by Daylight is in Japan. Like, it makes us look like fake fans. It really does. Like,
uh,
you can go into a mall in Japan and you're going to be able to buy Dead by Daylight merchandise. Can you do that here? No.
well, we
Like,
can't.
it's bigger there. They have an official DBD day in Japan.
Yeah,
It's like one of the top 10 games in Japan. It's just a different level.
the world is like a bigger place than people realize, and and again, Scotland too. You have HorrorCon Scotland, but think about how the impact Tori had on the game when they
Yeah.
released her.
I'm
It's
full in favor of this plan of like exploring cultures around the world. All of the backlash against Shane is like epitome of stupidity.
I
Like,
when that happened, like I saw Eric Pope make a tweet. I didn't like know the whole situation. And then like the next day I like looked into it. It's just like how fucking stupid do you gotta be first of all, if anyone is like racist or anything, and that's the thing, I made a tweet saying like if you're racist, if you're homophobic, if you're misogynistic, you have no place in this community. One of the first things responses I get is, good, I'm all those things. I hope you croak it, Ricky. someone with no again a profile picture. It's just
Again,
like
another happy and well-adjusted, successful person, I'm sure.
yeah. It's just like that's just like I don't get how people can be the way they are. It's sad. It really is sad. But it's just like the fact that there's so many good for DBD accounts out there. And like I saw some people worried that that tweet was like giving 4 DBD counts in general. But like if that were the case, why would Eric Pope want to be on my podcast? You know? So I like tried to assure some people like it's not the whole 4 DBD community. It's the ones who
It's
are
about who's
assholes
running the account.
because
At the end of the day,
yeah,
it's about who's running the account
yeah.
and
And as Eric
their
said,
approach.
what as Eric said, you're not doing your license a favor if you're an asshole.
No,
So,
by no means.
and
Uh,
there have been a few 4 DBD accounts out there who are assholes. So, but
well, you don't have to be a 4 DBD account to be an asshole. You can just be a regular account and be
yeah.
an asshole. But you know, all different people. But I'll tell you a
Yeah.
story about Shane Wigwas. I saw a tweet that it was a group of 20 indigenous creators that were like, we're all going to play Shane on this day, on release day. We're so excited. So after I wrapped up my stream, I made the conscious decision that I was going to find one of these people and I was going to raid them and send my audience over there. And I happened to like look up their names on the list from the tweet, and I happened to stumble upon a group of 4 of them that were all going to play together. And I was like, well, this is perfect. All 4 of these creators are on the list. They're all indigenous. They're all going to play together on a Swift. Amazing. So I rated them, and they were a little nervous because I wound up being a bunch of people because a lot of people wanted to get the Twitch drop. So even my numbers were higher than normal, but it was like more people than they had on their stream before, so they were a little nervous. But I told them why I brought my audience there, because they had shared like how meaningful the inclusion of Shane in the game was to them. And I said, and that's why we're here, because we want to hear, your story in regard to that. So if you wouldn't mind to share that with us, I would love for my audience to hear that. And so they all told us like what nations they were from, their backgrounds, and what having an indigenous survivor in Dead by Daylight meant to them. And it was about the most beautiful thing you could imagine. Like one of the Queen Frybread, I think Frybread Queen, I think was her name. I believe it was her that said that she was from the Anishinaabe Nation herself, and that she also knew Ojibwe language, right? And she like made a joke that Shane was like her uncle or her cousin or something. And yeah, it was just a beautiful moment for them to all share with me and everybody else what that meant to have representation, which I think is important. And I think the people who are against representation already have a lot of representation in the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why you would ever want to like keep people from experiencing that. And I've always said that Dead by Daylight has taught me about other cultures when they honor these holidays in Japan, and I research them and find out what they're about. And like it's enriched my knowledge base about the world. Like the Thai water fight, the Songkran, right? Was that what it's called? I think. Things like that. Like I'm learning about the world beyond my own borders through our video game, other people's cultures and um, beliefs and things like that, right? So, yeah, I
And
think it's a good thing.
that's what it's all about. That's what the gaming community is all about. And it's just so important that everybody, and not just for Dead by Daylight, this could apply to anything. Everyone has a character for someone, you know. Everyone has a character that speaks to them. Everyone has a character that they can relate to. Um, and
It
I
doesn't even
think,
necessarily have to be about race or where they're from. It could
yeah,
just be like their
hmm,
backstory, right?
yeah,
What they went through in
yeah,
their life.
yeah. That's just like I feel like there's some people who don't understand why characters are so important to them because like there's people who are like it's just a character, like why are you so, but it's just like there's meaning to people. People see something in something that like, you know, it has like a personal meaning to them. And you know, it could be Dead by Daylight, it could even be something like Fortnite, you know. Everyone has a character that they can relate to. And when you have that for Dead by Daylight, any other thing, that's how people come together as a community and they share those experiences. And when you share those experiences, it opens up other people to do, you know, that's just what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah. I just wish more people understood that,
Yeah.
but
And
you know,
unfortunately,
we'll get there.
we will. I mean, we have good people in the community. We got you. We got King, you know. We
We got you.
I try. I really I it's hard for me to be active on social media. My girlfriend actually does some of the posting for me now, actually. So, but like I've had people like BioShock tell me how I've inspired them, and it really does feel good. It's a little weird for me, but like I've always tried to make like tell people who are in the community, don't get yourself in drama. Don't get baited by the rage baiters. Don't if someone says something negative towards you, ignore it.
Oh,
You know, don't be the bigger person, and if you follow that, then you will be the happiest person you can be.
pretty good advice. Hard to
So,
argue. Like you
so
said, you inspiring people, and you're just like, I'm just a guy. Matthew telling you,
yeah.
basically, he's just a guy.
And
Me,
you're
I'm
just the
just a
guy.
guy.
Yeah, you know, and
We're all
Chandler
just people,
Riggs, just the guy, you
right?
know.
Right? Yeah. We're all
I
just
yeah.
regular people. We're at the end of the day, we don't feel special. And like, I think, like from what you say about Chandler, like he's grounded. Matthew's grounded. He's a very kind man, um, down to earth.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I
So,
think I think WWE is actually what made me realize that people are humans. Because when I met John Cena, I was like a kid at the time, and I was super excited. But like after that, I was like, this guy's just a normal person. Like, if because you're meeting someone you see on TV, but when you actually meet them, you kind of like get this sense of like, this is like real. Like this is a real person. So I think WWE kind of adjusted me to like seeing people as humans. And I think that's like again, as you and I were talking earlier, this was not on stream, but like when I talk to people from at behavior, you know, I don't ask them anything about Dead by Daylight. It's more just like normal conversations like about video games and like what their interests are.
yeah, just getting
You
to know
know,
them as people instead of
yeah.
like picking their brain about DBD and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when we did the interview, last fall with Matthew, like he wanted to tell us about his, LARPing experience at Bicolline, where like this whole place is shut down like a medieval village, and they just pretend like it's like a Ren fair kind of a thing,
Mm,
right? And everybody's in complete character. And he was just wanted to talk about that and his experience, and to show that he has interests outside of talking about DVD.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, wanted to for a while. I wanted to ask Matt, like give him the invite to be on the podcast back in Montreal, but I didn't want to like he was too crowded and I wasn't gonna bother him. But if I ever did get manage to get Matt on the show, like again, it would like I would not ask a single Dead by Daylight question. I want to hear about his experience with D&D because that's
Yeah,
to
like
him, that's his
if
thing. That's what got him into the world of storytelling. I want to know what movie he's seen recently. I want to know about, I want to know him as the person. I don't care I mean, obviously I care about Dead by Daylight, but I don't want to hear.
King and I would always joke about going over to his house and having a barbecue and then playing D&D after.
I mean, he's just from the little time I've had with Matt, I mean, he's just kind of the type of guy you can just have a normal conversation with and enjoy who you're talking to. You know,
Yeah, he's a very kind, charming person. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like
he's funny too.
yeah, he is.
He
He's
is a really
quick.
funny guy. He's
He's
quick and
quick. Yeah,
but he's also very intelligent. He's knowledgeable and he has so much, you know,
yeah.
he's
Like
great.
you said, he's the face of the game, but by no means has it gone to his head, kind of a
Yeah.
thing, right? He's
No,
just
no
like he
ego.
just
Yeah.
yeah doesn't feel like he's should
There
be
are,
on a
yeah.
pedestal.
There are people like that too who are, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah, all from my experience, from everyone I met, they're just amazing people.
Yeah, all love, really, right?
And shout out
All
to
love.
Eric Pope, another one of
Yeah,
the best. I love Eric.
yep.
Another one you could just have a conversation with about anything. He's a
I think he's so good at his job. Like I would
yeah.
be saddened to see him leave. Like,
Oh, the community won't let him.
well, I mean, you never know
Right?
what's
Yeah,
in
no.
store. Like if he
Yeah,
gets
no.
a rival offer, who knows what could happen? Anything could happen.
He's just
But
damn good at it. Yeah. I
we're
mean,
very
because he was
lucky with the
with
team that
yeah,
we have.
because Eric was with
I
For
love
Honor
I
and
love Dork too. I wish I could have spent more time with her. I
oh,
didn't get to
she is
spend enough
so
time with
good.
Omnia. It was a busy weekend, and you always thought, I always thought that I was gonna like have more time to catch up with people later, and then I didn't, and then I regretted like there was some photos that I didn't get, and I didn't want to make the weekend be about making content. I wanted it to be about making memories,
Hmm.
and that's what I did for the most part. I didn't like really record much of anything, and I just wanted to just drink in the experience and make memories, and I had a blast. Want to hear a funny dork story?
Oh, tell me. Is this about your
So
hands?
yeah, you heard this one. So, for the audience, if they haven't heard it, so we had a day at the studio on Saturday, and then we had the event on Sunday. So on the Saturday, I met her there, and they were coordinating what the content creators were going to do and stuff. And I shook her hand, and then I don't know, like 15 minutes later, she came up to me and she remarked, she goes, Paulie, you have really soft hands. It's nice. And I just looked at her and I said, girl, I'm a streamer. I'm not out here doing manual labor. Of course, I got soft hands. And then I wound up catching a picture with her at the very end of the night. She's like, real quick, because my Uber's here. So I got to just take this picture and go. And then she had like these white papers pressed up to her chest. And then I told this story on stream to my audience, and I shared the picture with them of me and Dork, and then they wound up like turning it into classified files, Paulie's moisturizing routine on the papers and stuff. They had a lot of fun with it. They had I had a group shot of my souvenirs from the event, like the DBD beer and the DBD candy and my lanyard and stuff. And then they put like a bottle of Jergens lotion photoshopped into it with my group shot of souvenirs that I had my Jergens lotion to keep my hands soft in the picture too. I was like, oh man, you guys. But it was funny. It's all in good fun.
Next time you're there, whenever if you get the chance, talk to Dork about um some of oh my God, I just my I just I just blanked out. I just blanked out. It's almost 2 a.m. You got to cut me some slack, but
Yeah, yeah.
no, Dork is one of the best people you could talk to. Talk to her about any game, and same with Omnia too. You could. I feel like Omnia like knows any game, so you can mention any game to Omnia, and you can just have a deep conversation with her about it.
But I don't know any games except DBD.
That's Ask her about
I
the
have
game.
this real gap
What?
in my video game life, right? Because I was raising a family. I didn't have time for video games. So I missed out on a bunch of stuff. Like I used to go to work and this guy would say, "Oh man, I'm playing this game, Resident Evil, on my PS1, my PlayStation, which wanted to be in PS1 back in the day." He's like, "It's you wouldn't believe it. There's nothing like it." And I never had that experience.
Uh,
I wasn't playing games
so Dead
in
by
those
Daylight is
years.
kind of your gap, but it's also your way to kind of catch up on certain licenses too. Then I
Yeah,
believe,
my
right?
return. I wound up playing Resident Evil 2
That's a good one.
because of Dead by Daylight brought me into it. When they had the remaster, I was like, "Oh, I'll play that." Alan Wake.
Oh, Alan Wake.
I'll play that.
Yeah, that's
So,
one to talk to Omni about. Alan Wake.
yeah, I need to play Alan Wake 2. I have it. I own it. Just haven't played
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's a really good one. You could talk to any of them about anything though. It doesn't even have to be video games. Like you can just they're easy to talk to. They really are. And like I said, as someone who has social anxiety, if I'm able to just sit down and be able to feel comfortable with it, like they're good people. They really are.
Yeah. I hope Eric's not mad at me about the whole beer situation. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh, I'm the narc."
You're never you're never getting invited to
I'm never
Montreal
gonna beat the
again.
narc allegations.
Thank you for that, by the way. I
Yeah, of course, of course. I felt so bad because, like, for those who
somewhere
don't know, Eric showed off. Do I have the beer here? I don't think I have it here.
I got mine all the
Um,
way back there on display. I don't know if you
Eric
can
showed
see
off
it through
this
this.
Dead by Daylight beer on Twitter, and Ricky said, "Oh, is that going to be at the event?" And Eric was like, "Would we brew a beer and not serve it?" And then I'm like, I'm a rule follower, so I had gone through all the rules, and I'm like, "This is a non-alcoholic event. What is he talking about?" And so I said, "Eric, there's no alcohol at the event." And he was like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." And so then he had to come back and say, "Yeah, Paulie's right. There's no alcohol at the event." And meanwhile, you had said, "Paulie, I swear to God, if you're going to keep me from getting this beer, I'm going to kick your ass," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, God, I'm the narc." But I thought I should just point it out because I'm like, I figured this was done for like liability reasons to not have alcohol on site and stuff, right? So
You saved a disaster from happening.
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure somebody would have brought it to Eric's attention beforehand. So then when we had the studio day, after we were done what we did at the studio, they had what was called the happy hour and they unlocked the beer fridge. And I said to Eric, "The narcs have beer?" He was like, "I guess." So then I
He
had
is
to
the
make
best.
sure I got you one. Yeah, he was a good guy. I just felt bad. Like every time I was trying to talk to him, he was like trying to have a meal or, yeah. I
He's
was like, "Oh God, I'm the annoying guy who's bothering him all the time. He's trying to eat or do something." And I'm like, "Eric."
But yeah, man, this was a blast. I really appreciate you for taking your time to do this with me at
It was fun. It was
2
fun.
a.m.
I'm sorry I kept you so long. I could be
Oh,
a little
dude, I
verbose.
kept you so long.
I
This
got
this
nothing else to do. My family went to bed. I was just like on YouTube flicking, and I'm like, "Hey, yeah, let's do it now. You want to do it tonight? Let's do it."
Yeah, I was like, all right. I'm
Yeah,
glad you did this, and I hope you had a good time because I had a great
I
time
did.
with
I
it.
did. I'm sorry if I belabored the point too hard against the devs about the cake thing, but I only did it for love of the community and love of the game. And, I
And
just
now
want
you
the game to thrive.
and now
So,
you and I are not getting invited back to Montreal ever again.
yeah, no movie from me. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me,
Thank
Ricky. And
you.
I
Before
hope I
before
didn't ruin the whole series. The
no,
last final episode of the Ricky sessions.
I get a cease and desist in the mail. Before you go, once I hit the end of recording, I'm just going to share something with you. Then I'll let you go to bed. But everyone else, thank you so much to everyone. If for those still, if anyone is listening to this, I'll have to come up with a good clickbait so people sit through this entire time. I'll, I'll caption an Eric Pope cameo or something. I I hope everyone has a good rest of your night, evening, whatever time it is, and see you on the next one.